Might go crazy.
Steelers don't know who their QB is. Penn State's Drew Aller next up to visit. Tom Pelissaro writing, as Pittsburgh awaits a decision from Aaron Rodgers, it has now hosted most of the draft's top quarterback prospects on a visit, which concludes today. Is it mandatory that the Steelers draft a quarterback?
Wasn't Aller viewed at one point? He was like one of the top guys.
Last year.
Right.
The year before, not this.
Yeah. Well, and that's why when we talk about next year's draft supposed to be great,
it always
you just don't necessarily know. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna surprise you guys.
Really?
Will Howard.
Because they got this guy.
I know it. He loves Ohio State guys.
Will Howard started about 30, played 50 college games.
Yeah.
Started about 30. Won a national championship with Ohio State. I get it. They had a ton of talent around him. But he put up big numbers. He's 6'4", got the size. I'm just saying, here's the thing. I don't necessarily want two young so-so prospects, right? I don't need two young, maybe average type prospects in my quarterback room. So play Howard. Worst case scenario, he's horrible. Guess what? We are near the top of next year's draft, and maybe we get our quarterback then. So I think that's a better move than bringing in Aaron Rodgers, winning 8, 9, 10 games, making the playoffs maybe, and getting blasted in the first round. So I would tell Mike McCarthy, you're our coach. We're the Steelers. We don't fire guys haphazardly. You're our coach. If we are bad this year, we're all right.
So I'm fine with all that, but they should just keep throwing darts at quarterback. Because I know I put the moratorium on the Rodgers thing, but this tangentially is a Rodgers thing. I just want to remind the audience.
Well, let's address this one here. So this is what we got. Aaron Rodgers obviously hasn't made his decision yet. Pittsburgh Steelers still waiting on him. Owner says they expect to hear something before the draft or by the draft, which is just a week away. Which is very interesting. You know what? I think if ownership doesn't know whether Aaron Rodgers is coming back, then you can draft Drew Aller. If Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back, or Aaron Rodgers does come back, I don't know why you would draft Drew Aller. I think you could draft a guy in the 6th, 7th round to fill in the roster spot. At that point, you do need 4 quarterbacks coming to camp. Maybe you bypass that altogether and just get somebody out of free agency. I don't know why you bring in Drew Aller when you have Will Howard. I don't think that in terms of the prospects, I mean, is Drew Aller really better than Will Howard? I think we'll be wasting a pick in the 3rd round. I mean, some people even have him creeping into the 2nd, which is wild to me. I don't see why you don't just deal with Will Howard, start Will Howard if you have him, or if Aaron Rodgers come back, play Aaron Rodgers, have Will Howard, wait another year and learn, right? Or you throw Will Howard out there, which is what I would like. I would like Will Howard to play right now. I'm under the impression here, and I heard Big Ben on his podcast say the same thing, in which I agree with 100%. Use this draft, use this free agency to build the roster. You build the Steelers team as a whole. Big Ben referenced how when he came in the league, that's how it was, and he came into a good roster. Now, obviously, we're not gonna have a roster like Ben had at his time, but you can come in and you can bring Will Howard in this year. You got DK Metcalf, Mike Pittman, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle. Now use this draft to shore up the pieces on offensive line. The whole right side of the offensive line for the Steelers is set. Zach Frazier, McCormick, and Fautanu. That whole right side is set. It's the left guard and left tackle where there's question marks, right? And I think you can use this draft to kind of tackle those spots. And obviously, we need a free safety. You can, use the draft there to free those things up. And the team looks pretty solid. That's why, once again, if you watch my last video reacting to Colin Cowherd, I mentioned how Ben Solak, and not even just him, there's some other analysts who see that, hey, the Steelers made some great offseason moves this year. And a lot of them even have them as number 1, 2, 3. They had threw the 49ers in there and some other teams. But the point I'm making is that the plan, to me, what I see the Steelers are doing is waiting for 2027. Now, I know they addressed in this video 2027. They said that about 2026. I'm going to get to that. But the plan for the Steelers, to me, the plan that everybody seems confused about, nobody knows what the Steelers' plan is. The plan is grow the roster right now. Next year or this year with Will Howard, you can place the quarterback in there and maximize his potential because you got so many weapons around you. Like look at Sam Darnold with the Jets, all that dysfunction. Sam Darnold with the Carolina Panthers. You see Baker couldn't do anything when he was with the Carolina either. You put Baker on the Rams. You put Sam Darnold on the Vikings. You put Sam Darnold on the Seahawks. You put Baker on the Bucks. All of a sudden, these guys have changed their career. So you don't want to put these quarterbacks all the time in situations that's terrible. Like, for example, the Raiders are putting Mendoza out there. Mendoza, I think, is going to be a good quarterback. I like Mendoza. But I don't think it's going to be so sweet in the beginning because, once again, I mean, they need some help. Those two draft picks that they got from the Ravens that got rescinded, and now Max Crosby is back with the Raiders. They needed those 2 draft picks to stack up their roster for their quarterback. We see it so many times. These quarterbacks, again, drafted so high, are being put in situations where they cannot succeed. Or they struggle to succeed, and then they have to revitalize their career somewhere else. So with that being said, let me address this 2027 NFL draft situation here we keep talking about. Now, yes, we mentioned it last year, right? But a lot of these guys last year had decided to stay in school. That is the trend right now with the draft, with college football. In college football, a lot of these guys are staying to the senior year. They're staying 5 years in college. They're using their eligibility to the maximum. And most of it has to do with NIL. And the other part of it has to do with, look, these quarterbacks need time. They need time and experience. Arch Manning easily could have came out this year, right? Arch Manning didn't look that good. He looked like he had potential still. He still looked like a first round pick by the end of the season. But that he took his growing pains in the beginning of the season before he started to rev up his engine towards the end of the season. Now, if you watch college football, you know there's a lot of guys like that who needed time. Dante Moore could have went to the Jets this year. Everybody had him projected to the Jets. I'm sure Dante Moore saw that and was like, you know what? Why would I go to the struggling Jets when I could stay another year? Maybe still go to the Jets, but they'll have maybe Carnell Tate added, another wide receiver added from the draft. Or I'll be in a better position next year with a better team. Now, there you go. That's 2 guys that you took out of the pot for 2026 that are now going to 2027. These guys are seniors. They have to come out this year. So you got Arch Manning, Dante Moore. You got Julian Sand from Ohio State. Trinidad Chambliss. Now I'm naming them. I'm not gonna go into how I feel about them. I'm just naming the guys because I want y'all to see all these guys that have first round potential. And even if they're not first round guys, they're top of the second. Everybody's gonna be snatching these guys. And that's why everyone needs, everyone who's quarterback needy, if you're a quarterback question mark, you got to keep your quarterbacks for next year. Because worst case scenario, right? So let me just rattle off to you because there hasn't been a draft like this where everyone is, there's a huge list like this where there's so many options. Even last year, if Arch Manning and Dante Moore comes off, there's probably 5 or 6 guys that were looking really good. Look at a couple years ago with Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. It was 5 guys, and that was a great QB draft. Now I'm gonna read you off all these guys: Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Julian Sand, Trinidad Chambliss, Lenore Sellers, Jaden Maeva out of USC, John Mateer at Oklahoma, Darian Mensah, Miami, CJ Carr, Notre Dame, Sam Levitt, LSU, I already said Jaden Maeva, and Drew Mestermeyer. So let me count that here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different guys. Now let's say this, right? Because, for example, Drew Aller was supposed to be a top quarterback this year. He got injured, and his prospects went completely sunk. And that's not even just because of the injury. It's just the fact that he just doesn't come up in big moments. I think that's my biggest issue with Drew Aller. But anyway, that's 11 guys right there I just mentioned. Now you'll say, like, come on, 11 guys, that's ridiculous. Those guys aren't all going to be first-round picks, and they all aren't going to be good, right? Which is fine. So imagine, right, 11 different guys, first-round potential. Let's say half of them lose their value in the college season. That's still 5 or 6 guys. Now, that's 5 or 6 guys that are going to be first-round potential. And you're going to start to wonder, okay, we just had a legendary class, well, seemed to be legendary class with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and all those guys, right? And those guys had 5 or 6 quarterbacks as well. Now, this 2027 draft looks like it has the same talent. And with the projection of maybe more. So then you're telling me I should pass that up and draft Drew Aller or draft a quarterback who I'm not sure about when you got this class of guys coming in who like Arch Manning comes out in this draft, he's going to be rivaling Mendoza. That's the facts. Even though Mendoza won the national championship, everyone looks at Arch Manning's potential, and he comes out this year, he's a first-round pick. Dante Moore, already top 5. They had him projected to the Jets. Julian Sayin, everybody loves him. They're projecting him to be a first-round guy. Trinidad Chambliss was going to be a first-round guy this season. He's another guy I didn't mention. It's a third guy there that we lost for this draft. I was going to be a first-round guy. He went to court, fought for his eligibility, which is wild to me, and he won and got to go back to college again. Right? So that's 3 guys right there that we were missing out of this year's draft. Jaden Maeva, USC. Lenore Sellers, my guy. John Mateer, another one of my guys, Oklahoma. Darian Mensah, Miami. CJ Carr. So, I mean, look, all I'm saying is this. Don't rule out 2027 draft. I know we've been hearing this a lot, but there's a reason. There's a reason why the teams, and I keep saying this, there's a reason why the NFL teams that are QB needy are going to keep their first-round draft picks this year. Because this 2027, they're not going to have the maneuver that they had in 2026 where, oh, yeah, I'm staying for another year. A lot of these guys are seniors. A lot of guys are done with their eligibility, are going to have to play this season. So, I mean, if I'm the Steelers, I don't miss out on that. I think that this year we have Mendoza and everybody else. If you throw in everyone else, even Mendoza, you throw him in this batch here, I would say half of these guys are going to be in question to pass Ty Simpson for sure. And Ty Simpson is a late first round. So Ty Simpson's a late first round, and he's not even better than these guys. And Ty Simpson's a late first round. Think about that, man. Think about that. And Ty Simpson, 8 games where he balled out and it was elite. Got injured, played, looked pretty bad. But everyone's thinking about the 8-9 games he played. And now he's a first-round pick. So what makes you think that these guys with more talent aren't going to be first-round picks as well? That's how I'm seeing it. All we can do is wait and see. But the plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers, stack up the roster, start Will Howard, or wait till next year, get one of these young guys. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Let me know. I know, my last video, I got a lot of feedback from y'all. Let's hear it again, man, because I believe in the 2027 class. I know that might not be what Steelers fans want to hear, but that might be the reality.